Hello, everyone. My name is Rafael, and this is Rebuild It with PG. I have, as usual, here with me.
Julio.
All right, and then my voice is shot, so I apologize. I've been coughing for the last week.
I tell you to stay away from those projects when you
Yeah,
don't feeling good.
yeah.
That's what
Well,
that does.
that's what it does. So, great surprise. Julio's gonna be doing the entire show on his own, right, Julio?
Oh, that would be a good one, but not today.
I've heard this saying before between parents and things like that. It's like, I'm not worried that you'll succeed. I'm worried that you'll never fail. Because when you fail, when you have a mistake, when something goes wrong, it's usually where you learn the most.
That's
And
what that's a big one right there.
funny who does that a lot is the United States military.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whenever they have something called war games, where it's that it's like real life. They do battles and skirmishes, and they simulate it. But they have vehicles on ground, people on ground, airplanes flying through the air. Depends on what kind
It's
of
like
war game they're
recording a
doing.
movie.
Yeah, so they're
Yeah.
doing it against other nations. With like not live ammunition, obviously, or
Mm.
even with against ourselves. The military always ties their hands behind their back. Like, for example, they did one recently with the F-22 Raptor, right? One of
Mm.
the most advanced fighter jets to date,
Yeah.
and its stealth capability is incredible.
Oh, wow.
But they had to I think they had to open the bomb bay doors because that would negate the stealth capability, so the other nations could actually see it and find it. They had to put the drop tanks on it so that it would be slower. It's like an extra 8,000 pounds or something like that,
Oh
so
wow.
that other other aircraft from other nations actually had a chance. So
Uh,
the military does this a lot because they find that you learn more from the failure
yeah.
oftentimes
They
than
really want to.
from
They really want to put you in that
yeah
situation
you
physically, so to see how you react. Yeah, that's those are
excuse me.
those are the most important exercise
Yeah.
that you can give a human.
So today we're going to be talking about some of the failures that we've seen,
Mm.
mistakes that we've made, and mistakes that we've seen other people make, mistakes that we've heard other people make, and hopefully an attempt to kind of educate everybody in our audience and what you could expect, what things you could possibly avoid. Also for clients, because
Mm.
clients have to understand that we're humans.
Mm.
We're not automatons. This job is done by people. Deliveries are made by people.
Mhm.
The rental equipment is fabricated and delivered and maintained by people. So there are points of failures, and there are ways that we try to minimize it.
Mm.
Obviously, you have safety procedures, things of that nature. But sometimes there are unforeseen circumstances.
Yeah. And
And every project, no matter how many projects you do, everyone's just a little bit different.
well,
Requires just a little bit different finesse, maybe a little bit protection, things like that. So there's one I really want to go into, and this is more of an administrative thing. So as a company with our clients, we try to be transparent, especially when we're dealing directly with an association. You want to be transparent with your client. Like, look, this is our the schedule for the entire job site. This is what we're doing. If a window breaks, hey, this window broke here. We did it. Tell the owner we're coming by to fix it.
mm,
Okay. You want to be as transparent as possible. Where you have to be careful is when you're talking to, because we deal with a lot of condominiums, is
mhm.
our communication is from us to the engineer or from us to the condominium association. That's
That's
it.
it. Yeah.
We do not communicate directly with owners for the most part unless we have a specific project with them, such as changing out their windows or something like that.
Hmm.
But we never communicate with them directly. Let's take a look at this timeline. I pulled up our timeline for one of our upcoming projects. Like, this is not the most complicated timeline in the world, but there's a lot of moving parts. So we give this timeline to our clients. They see this, they have access to it for the most part, and most companies do the same, whether you use Microsoft Project or Excel, whatever you use to schedule your project.
Yeah. That's the thing. This is always changing
I
according.
always tell the association, look, do not give this to the owners
Hmm.
because it is 100% going to change,
It's yeah.
especially
Hmm.
in concrete restoration. Remember, we're not doing brand new buildings where you can you in brand new buildings you should know exactly how much concrete you're using because you have the plans,
Hmm.
how much rebar you're using, how much of this you're using. That's more or less set in stone. Changes do get made as designs get updated throughout the project, but for the most part, It's very set in concrete. Forgive the pun. But for restoration, you don't know what you're gonna come across
Yeah.
until you open up that slab. For example, here, we have estimated about 2 months of demolition. It might be 3 weeks. There might be almost no damage there, but based on the size of the area, we're estimating this amount because this happens to be a corner area. It's very large.
Yeah.
And if we give this to the client, to the association owner, specific, not the owner, the unit owner,
It will
and
be a
specifically
disaster.
this unit owner, be like, oh, well, it says you're starting on May, blah, 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 and ending on, July, whatever. And then something happens to the mobilizations before that,
Yeah.
and you're delayed by a week, right? You start a week later, and then now it's like, well, you told me it was going to be this. Things
Yeah.
will always change. And you got to understand that, especially if you're a client, if you're used to just dealing with small projects, like you need a plumber to come out and do some small work, or electrician, it's usually like, okay, I'm going to be there this day. It's going to take me like 2 days to do it because it's relatively a small job.
Yeah.
And you can expect them to be, now if they're not there that day, you're like, hey, listen, you said you're going to be here this day. Where are you? That's fair,
That's fair. Yep.
right? But and when we're dealing with the entire building, you can't hold me to like, well, you said you were going to mobilize my unit on April 7th.
Yeah.
All right. Well, something happened. Now we have to mobilize a week later, right? It could be anything from inspections to weather delays. It could be
There's a lot of factors. So
yeah,
many
a
factors. Yeah.
million factors.
Yeah.
So transparency is key with your direct client, but not every bit of information needs to be pushed out to everybody who lives there.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it's best the less they know, the better it is. Is you want a general timeline. Hey, we're gonna be coming here around this time. Get stuff out of your balcony. Start putting it away. We're gonna be riding the sages right outside your balconies. Close your blinds for privacy, and that's it.
Yeah.
You don't give them specific dates because it's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah.
And obviously, financial information. We do have financial information like estimated monthly payments, and again, whenever anything's estimated, and in this industry, everything's estimated. You
Yeah.
know that.
Everything is estimated.
Everything, you
No.
have estimated quantities, you have estimated timelines. And when you do that, you want to make sure that the client knows this is an estimate. It might be more, it might be less, because you don't know how much work we're going to find there. And most of our work is by unit value. So we
And
charge
most
based on
most
what
of them
we
is
do.
unforeseen too. It's you can see something physically, but internal you can only see once you start doing the repair, and that where the surprises come. And most of the time we are surprised in sizes of small repair that being turned into going
Yeah.
inside apartments and everything. I mean,
Take a look at
we
this
had
one. So this was when it first started, it was like a little bit of cracking around the exterior, right? This was a meeting room we did. When they
yeah, right.
opened up the inside, not even the outside, when they opened up the inside of the walls, took out the
The
drywall,
drywall.
they saw the condition of this block of these columns and header beams, and that the whole thing had to go. Look at it. It's gone.
And I remember when they barely hit it with the chipping hammer, it crumbled down.
Yeah.
So what was holding that was the foolery behind it and the drywall.
Yeah, because the rebar was gone. Like you can see, this is all brand new
This
rebar.
is all new.
It's all brand new rebar. So the rebar is gone. We had to replace all that because it gets to a point where the rebar is so old and so corroded that when you open up the concrete, it's just a hollow shape with dust.
Dust,
With
yeah,
like rust.
like a stained concrete.
Yeah, like rusty dust. That's
Yeah.
all that's left in there. The thing just, got Thanos snapped and disintegrated. So that's what happened here. And you won't know that. From the outside, it didn't look this bad. A couple
Yeah.
cracks, things like that. Nothing unusual, but it did not look this bad.
Yeah, sometimes you don't even want to even believe that a column and a beam could be at that stage of deterioration.
Oh man, that's a
'Cause,
scary thought.
I mean, we've been to columns and beams that we would like, oh my God, how is this standing?
Yeah, no,
You know,
that's
but it gets really bad, and especially when you have a crack, that's it, because now the moisture and the water and everything is going straight in. Now it's not only the moisture, it's just the physically water going into the rebar, and that's crucial.
oh yeah, 100%. So that's a mistake that not that so much that I guess the mistake we made was basically not telling the client not to give that information out, because we've had clients that have like shared the entire schedule before. And initially, this is a project I was in. I thought, okay, cool, let's be transparent, let's make sure everybody knows what we're doing. We have nothing to hide. This is our schedule, this is what we're supposed to do. We want people to feel secure. And the second mistake that was made, and I didn't stop it, was when they gave out a mass email to all 1,000 something unit owners my cell phone number. So that was a great night.
Yeah.
That was a great night. Just receiving calls, and the problem was, in Florida we have a lot of what's called snowbirds, and it's just basically people who come down here for the winter, right? If you're from Canada, people from up north, and oftentimes they're not in the same time zone. So I'd be getting calls at like 3 a.m. in the
Yeah,
morning
they're in
because they're
completely in
yeah, this guy's over here in like
California or
California or something, and it's 10 o'clock for them or whatever, and
that's a mistake you really don't want to get involved with. I
yeah.
mean, if you don't have like a person just doing podcasts or doing recording of any explanation and sending it to everybody at once, you're not going to be able to answer to everybody, because it gets really
Yeah.
interesting, because they're only waiting for 8 o'clock in the morning when you get to this project to start hearing the bing 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 bing. So they're already aggravated
Oh
of what's
yeah.
going on. So they want to get any little thing so they can come at you and just let it out. Like, oh my God,
Yeah, you
and
understand these are
yeah.
just frustrating.
Yeah, it's
I
frustrating. And we understand it. That's the reason why we try to keep as much away from residents as possible, because we understand. I mean, we understand what they're living through.
Yeah,
Right?
and then what we learned from that experience was you want to have a robust communications plan. Right? You want to set things out very clear. Like, look, this is how we're going to communicate. I'm going to talk to the engineer. The engineer is going to talk to you, or I'm going to talk to you, and the engineer is going to talk to you, or we're all going to talk together. However, I've always told them we're not talking directly to residents, and most of the time they agree with this, and they don't want us talking directly to residents.
They don't
Right?
even want it, because they'll be calling
Oh yeah.
them too. They
Look,
go crazy.
anybody has any complaints, this is the chain of command that they're going through. They're going through the association goes through us. That's how it should be done. You want to have a bit of a buffer, because it's one thing dealing with a client, an association made up of 5 people, than dealing with 1,000 people in a condominium association, in a condominium complex.
Yeah.
Right, or a hotel or whatever. You want to deal with your client. You don't want to deal with everybody that's behind your client, right? Because then things slow down and it gets messy. So that's one mistake that we've run into.
Yeah.
I would say one